you. There are two words that I want you to remember. One is, I don't know if they're yeshivish words, they're at their core they're Hebrew words, but it's bekoach and bepoel. Bekoach means your strength, your potential. And bepoel means what you actually do. And there is a large gap between your potential and what we actually do. Think about a seed. We're learning, right? What's the Seder that we're learning? The book of the 6 books, Seder's Rum, is about seeds. What is a seed? It's this little puny thing. And yet within it is an amazing amount of DNA and a potential to feed the world. One little dinky seed, a match. You look at a match and you say it's just a stick with a bulb at the end. What can it do? It can destroy a world. It can heat the world. So, bikoach, it's just a stick with the bulb at the end. It's just a seed, right, that looks like nothing. But bikoach, in terms of its potential, it has potential to do amazing things. So who are we? Think about the person. If I gave you $1 billion, right? Maybe you can buy a house in Thornhill, but no. If I gave you $1 billion, and I'd say you can buy one thing with it. You can buy one thing with it. So what would you do? You'd buy a skyscraper in Dubai or Manhattan, right? You buy a skyscraper. Let's say you saw a guy with $1 billion go into a 7-Eleven and get a Slurpee, right? And then he would spend 79 cents on a Slurpee, and he'd have to give the rest of the money back to Hashem. Say, are you crazy? Hashem gave you $1 billion. You can buy one thing, and you're buying a Slurpee? I know. Slurpees are better at 7-Eleven than at Max. I get it. But are you crazy? You're returning so much change to Hashem. And yet, look at us. Hashem gave us $1 billion of potential. And what are we giving back to Him? We're saying, you know what? I'll go to shul for Rosh Hashanah for 10 minutes. I'll listen to the rabbi make a joke. I'll come, that's what I'll do. That's my Yiddish. You had $1 billion of potential. And what are we doing with it? We're buying a Slurpee? That's what we're doing with our potential? So I want to tell you that I grew up with athletes on my wall. Anyone else grew up with athletes on their wall? Some of you grew up with singers on the wall. Okay, my mother didn't allow that. Posters. Right, not the actual people. That would be more, right. That'd be like more Jeffrey Dahmer-esque. But, with pictures. So I grew up, Al Toon, Kenny Skywalker, all of the potential New York heroes, Patrick Ewing. So there was a guy that lived around 2,000 years ago, and he was a nephew to the head of Rome, probably Trajan or Hadrian, the two real tough guys on the Jewish people. And he grew up, and he went, and he had all the posters on the wall of the athletes. But in the back then, they weren't athletes of golfers and tennis players. He didn't have Bjorn Borg or Jack Nicklaus. He had only Muhammad Ali, Joe Louis, George Foreman, Jerry Cooney, right? All he had, Marvelous Marvin Hagler. I could go on, but all he had, right? What were the sports back then? It was brutal. It was killed to the death. And he had all of this, and you know what he said? I don't want this. And he went to Eretz Yisrael and he converted and became a rabbi. And his name was Unkeles. Because every week there are people that are studying Chumash with Unkeles, right? And here was a man that had on his wall, Joe Louis, Marvin Hagler, Muhammad Ali. And if he would have died and been a nice accountant in Egypt, in Rome, they would have said, Unkeles, you could have been Unkeles. He said, what are you talking about? I never could have been Unkeles. My uncle was the Roman emperor. That's all I was, and I became a nice accountant. And he became one of the most important rabbis in the world. That is the difference between the potential of what we have and what we actually do. So I just want to give a blessing to us, that we remember that we just did it. Many of us just did 10 minutes a day, and we finished 2 Masechtas. I think some of you never even heard of the word Masechta before. And now you finished 2 Masechtas. And all you have to do is a couple of minutes a day, and you can accomplish something that you never thought you'd be able to accomplish. Imagine in 6 years, some of us are going to still be sitting here, finishing all of Shas Mishnayos. That's something very incredible and very capable to do. One of the great Hasidic rabbis, Rabbi Tzadok HaKohen, says that in the end of days, the evil inclinations, one job right? You think, oh, his one job is to get you to look at bad things, right? And that's a big problem in our generation, is to get you to spend money on things you don't need. The one job of the evil inclination in the Messianic era is to convince you that you're a nobody. There's 8 billion people in the world, you have all the million rabbis in the world, you don't count. That's the job of the evil inclination. And we have to fight that. And what we did now is to say we do count, we do matter. Every action that we do, we can do the unbelievable. So I give everyone a blessing that when our turn is to go up to the big Yankee Stadium in the sky, in 120 years, not from when I was born, I want to go 120 years from now, that Hashem will say, your potential and your actual were basically the same. Wouldn't that be a great, amazing compliment Hashem gave us? And the only thing that's stopping us is the evil inclination telling us we can't do it. But my friends, we're going to beat the evil inclination. We're going to lose sometimes, but we're going to win and win and win and accomplish and learn lots of Torah and do lots of chesed because it's in us. We're like that match. We're like that seed. And if Onkelos can do it, and Rabbi Akiva can do it, and Mar Okfa can do it, all these people that start off really low, then we can do it as well. Everyone, a big bracha to all of us. We're going to continue growing and accomplishing as much as we can to give Hashem lots and lots of nachas. Yashikayach to all of us. Okay, we're going to